Hey guys, Reis here with Cranberry Alarm. Today I'm going to be talking about our strategy breakdown of 2025 Reefscape and how we're kind of going to be approaching the game and all the different aspects of it and ultimately what we're going to be doing to move forward. So getting right into it, I'm just going to go over just the basic scoring opportunities in the game, all the different areas you can score points and all the different available and where all the game pieces go and whatnot. For the coral, going over auto, you have L1, L2, L3, L4, and those go 3, 4, 6, 7. And tele, that goes 2, 3, 4, 5. And for algae, those do not change in auto. So auto only has an impact on coral and also leaving. We kind of assumed we would automatically be leaving due to having an auto, so we didn't put it up on this board. And for the barge, you can't do the barge during auto, so that's only an in-game task. And for park is 2 points, shallow is 6 points, and deep is 12 points. And shallow is going to be the one that's hung up a little bit higher, and the deep is going to be the one that's hung a little bit lower to the ground. And that's based on the difficulty of the tasks. For 2025, we actually have a new RP distribution. Instead of having a total of 4 RPs in a match, we actually have a total of 6 RPs in a match. You can get 3 points from a win, and there's also 3 additional bonus RPs. One thing we don't have listed down here is that a tie is actually worth 1 RP. So a tie is pretty detrimental this year compared to years prior. Auto is going to be the first bonus RP that you can get, and to get that, all enabled robots need to leave the zone and score a coral in the reef. The coral RP is probably has the most, conditions to it. You need to have 5 in each level, but if you do complete the co-op, and the co-op is scoring 2 algae into the processor. And if you do that, you can score 5 on 3 levels, and that can be any combination of these 3. You can do 5 on L1, 5 on L3, 5 on L4, or you can stick to the lower levels and only do L1, L2, and L3. Where that has a really big effect is when it comes into algae removal. When you, all the algae is stored into the reef, is in different locations. However, when the algae is in there, and we're missing our second reef post, but when it's scored in here, if you imagine the other one, there's 2 locations for the algae. You have the lower location and the upper location. In both locations, whether it's in the lower or the upper, you are being blocked from scoring in L3. And that is a rule in the book that the coral cannot be scored if it is touching an algae. So with that said, here are the available scoring locations for the coral. If you do not remove any algae, you're left with, I put infinite because I don't know quite the cap that's available on L1, but you can fill that pretty generously. L2 is left with 6. L3, you cannot score anywhere on L3. And L4 is completely open, you can score 12. With removing, that opens up a total of 18 more slots, which opens up a total of 36 places where you can score coral on the reef. So if you are not removing any algae, you have to score L1, L2, and L4. So if your robot cannot go high enough to go to L4 and you want to be able to get that RP by yourself, you have to be able to remove algae. For us, due to the complexity that it may require from what we've kind of just been brainstorming, we think that removing algae may be a bit of a difficulty compared to what it may take to go to L4. So we're going to be focusing our priorities on going all the way to L4 so that we can prioritize scoring L1, L2, and L4. And you can see we should be able to score 5 in L1, 5 in L2, and 5 in L4 to reach that RP. Ultimately, algae is a very, very big part of the game. One thing that we haven't talked about yet is the algae scoring. A bit more on that is that when you score in the processor, it's 6 points. But a little bit more to that is that when you score into the processor, the algae goes to the opponent human player. And from there, the opponent human player can then shoot the algae into their net to score 4 points. So in total, you would be netting 2 points from that. But as the game goes on and you continue to score more and more algae, the net becomes more and more populated with algae, making it harder for the human player to score in there as the algae may hop in there, bounce around, and hop out. In that case, as the game goes on, you scoring 6 points as opposed to 2 points from the processor is more and more likely. So algae removal is a very, very big thing because as you start to fill the processor with more algae, you get a pretty big point boost as getting the 6 points from the processor is worth more than any coral from L4. And lastly from there, with our strategy, we would really like to be able to climb. It's lower on our priority list as we want to focus a little bit more on winning a match, and we believe that winning a match will open up more points. However, the barge is very, very important for getting that additional RP. So ultimately, the best ways to go about this is if you wanted to be able to do it, get the best capability to do it by yourself, you can do one person on deep and then one person parked. That will give you the 14 points to get the barge. Or you do 2 people on the shallow and 1 person on the park. Ultimately, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, if we have the time for it near the end of our design exploration, we're going to be focusing on doing these shallow, as that'll probably be a bit more approachable for our design, and it'll allow us to work more with our alliance partners and still get the barge RP. And ultimately, this is our interpretation of the rules. Please refer to the game manual for anything, just in case we make mistakes, and make sure we didn't miss anything. But that about does it. Thank you guys for watching, and please be sure to check out more videos on Fun Robotics Network for Cranberry Alarm Ri3D.